I just had to give people time so that they could go back. Because I had nurses, doctors, I had people.
Here we go. So, we learned from Spanish that when you use the verb infinitive or e, it's ambiguous. We don't know who you're talking about. So it's ambiguous. You got to be specific. So that's why we can't say they. Learning Spanish will tell you just can't say they or use that. Like you can't say habla, because that could be you, second person. It could be a third person. It could be a woman, a man. It could be a dog. You dig? Or whoever. It's very ambiguous. You have to say so and so habla, and then you can say habla for it on because we got the subject. Uh-oh.
People that have been diabetics.
So he says they, and then he tells us who the they is. That's backwards.
30. I had nurses, doctors, I had people that had been diabetics 20, 30, 40 years, and they had never heard of melanin concentrated hormone at all. And so I had to give people time to actually.
So he knows more than doctors, right? They never heard of it that you had. Okay.
Pull it up, look it up, jump down that rabbit hole. And then people started coming back, like, yo, this is insane. How did we not know this all this time? And how does a guy from the neighborhood raising 5, like, how do you find this, this facility or these, so that was probably the main linchpin to this whole American healer thing that kind of developed. So I started to get a lot of serious attention on the article. The article's still up, DrENQI.com. People can read it. In the article, I also talk about the discrepancy between the ATP that's produced and the amount of energy that the body uses. There's always been a missing amount of energy, and so we kind of address that in the article. And all of these things are getting attention, and so we put together a documentary. And from the documentary, the documentary kind of grows into the release. We get the mayor and city council of New York and Peekskill to cut a ribbon for us and basically bring us in to expound further to to another skeptical group, mind you. It's not like these people are like bringing me in like, oh no, this is the Jesus of science. They bringing me in like, yeah, we're gonna bring our sharpest minds to have you elaborate this stuff that you're saying, because it sounds, it's incredible if it's true. And so that happened. We released the documentary. We released the.
He's reading scientific research, so that science didn't know it herself. It took you to read it and interpret it the right way.
Reasonable doubt, 24-hour marathon. Just because it is so much information, it's not easy to teach this kind of stuff in a 1 hour or 2 hour setting. So I wanted to give people like a 20, but that expanded and we wound up going for about 40 hours straight. And then of course we put together a free biochemistry school online normally it's $240 a year, but I made it free for and kind of learn and get this information at home. And, so we're combating it via getting the information out on a professional level, via articles, interviews, etc. Getting politicians involved, trying to see if we can build funding and school programs. But on the other side, we're also making sure that, I don't want anybody to feel like I left the community. So for the community, I created a free online school for adults and children. And before I leave, I'll put the info up so people will know where that's at. And then also one of the craziest pieces, and then after this, I'll turn it back over to you. One of the craziest things is
he needs a biochemistry class, but he's going to teach one.
Actually have some herbs that are scientifically documented.
Okay, now I don't know what that means, You got to watch their little goofy language. Herbs. Herbs scientifically documented. It's always some herbs because he's against, you know, modern Western medicine. So it's going to always be herbs. So he has a bias like no other. It cannot be current medicine. It's the herbs.
That are, we actually have some herbs that are scientifically documented to regrow beta cells. And this is like probably the craziest thing that I said that people were like scrutinizing. But I show in the documentary the team of scientists from Mount Sinai. You know, this is $1 billion science team. This wasn't my discovery.
And they always throw the money. It's either the science team is worth $1 billion or a billionaire book got them together to do something, or the book costs $1 billion. There's always something that they always bring money into it. Like the money stamps the research.